Into the Quick Pitch MLB DFS podcast and live stream, James. We have reached the end of the week. Friday, 12-game main slate here to finish off the work week. A big day. Pitching sucks for 12 games. We have talked about this a lot, where we kind of work our way through rotations, and sometimes we catch it right where it's loaded. Sometimes we catch it wrong where it's not. And I feel like, based off what we have on this slate here, we hit the wrong side of the rotation, the wrong mix. We got a couple of good spots, but for a 12-game slate where there are 24 starting pitchers on the board, there's maybe 4 that I want to use. It's not great. We also might have some weather going on, if you believe the little emoji symbols up here that DraftKings gives you. Obviously, the GOAT weatherman, Kevin Roth, shout out to Roth over at Roto Grinders. He'll put out his weather report. We highly recommend you all go check that out. It's not going to be out as the time of this current recording, but if we're looking at maybe rain in Washington, rain in Kansas City, it only shortens up the slate. We do have Colorado on the slate, but not in Coors. So we do at least have to not worry about a Coors Field impact here. But yes, as we have to pay attention to as we get into the summer months, we do find ourselves occasionally dealing with some weather as well. So for 12 games, we could have 2 games potentially impacted there. We'll get more of an update on that when James and I go live at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is our first look podcast for those who are new to the show. Welcome all. Just glad you're watching, hopefully on the Better Sports Network, over on Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel as well. James, for these 12 games, let's head on over to Vegas. Take a look at some of the game totals and run lines that maybe we should be paying attention to here.
Yeah, first off, John, happy Friday. That's most important. That's the most important here. Happy Friday. Secondly, we are going to go to Vegas. I think the first thing that stands out to me in terms of money line is seeing Kodai Senga minus 200 pretty much across the industry. Over on Caesars, he's up to minus 208, and warranted. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of seasonal streamers go against Kodai Senga this week. I think a lot of people are licking their chops when they get to face Oakland, although there has been a breakout of some sort of in the form of Brent Rooker the last couple of days. John,
I know
he hit 2 home runs on Thursday and a home run on Wednesday. So watch out, Kodai. Running into a steaming hot Brent Rooker. It's always very scary. But he's the biggest favorite on the board, minus 200 at home, or on the road rather. Sorry. Luis Garcia minus 160 on the money line, home against Texas. We've talked about Texas a couple times this week and how kind of depressed their lineup is without Corey Seager and Mitch Garver. So Luis Garcia, not a bad matchup. The Yankees coming off a shellacking of the Minnesota Twins, all in 2 innings. Get to send an actual pitcher to the mound. And no fair to Johnny Brito, but like the Yankees are sending out some names right now to the mound. Nestor Cortez is a dude. He's minus 175 on the money line. That's a pretty good spot for Nestor, although Minnesota looked relatively healthy on Thursday. Those are the 3 biggest favorites we have in terms of run line. And that just goes to show you, John, like you kind of said pitching stinks, and that's like a clear indication that Vegas can't really trust any of these pitchers.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad.
I skipped over Noah Syndergaard minus 165, Marco Gonzalez 165, and John Woodford 165 because who wants to use any of those guys?
Are you gonna play John Woodford against Pittsburgh? I mean, I guess you could at 5K, but
right.
You don't want to.
In terms of over-unders, the most notable over-under we have, and this doesn't really surprise me, is in Boston. And given how Boston has played just in general and how Fenway has played this year, I'm perfectly fine getting there. 9.5 over-under there. Slight lean on the under in terms of favorite, but just minus 115, so not really anything significant. 9-run implied total in Cleveland, Washington. Trevor Williams on the mound for Washington. Cal Quantrill on the mound for Cleveland. 9 runs in Tampa Bay, Toronto, pretty much a pick 'em. 9 in Baltimore, Chicago. Mike Clevenger has looked terrible to start the year. That's it, John. Like, that's the only noticeable. There's nothing really notable. Like, there's no like great ballparks. There's no great pitching. There's no. We're looking out for weather. There's no implied,
right?
Like minus 250 favorites. There's no massive implied
it's
runs.
A lot of number 4 starters going up against number 4 starters, and Vegas is like, honestly, could go either way here.
Yep.
Like, both of these pitchers suck enough that offenses could put runs across the board. That's basically where we're at.
Yep.
So with that great preview of game totals, let's go into the pitching here, where we have Kodai Senga, obviously $10,400 on the road. And actually, Oakland is a great spot to pitch. Huge ballpark, ton of foul ground here. Senga's first 2 starts, both of them were up against the Miami Marlins. 14 total strikeouts and 11 and a third innings, 88 and 90 pitches in those 2 outings. So maybe that's something to watch. Like, is he kind of capped to that 90 pitch mark? Are they going to let him go over it? Obviously, he gets acclimated to the to Major League Baseball, but on a big slate like this, there's going to be value on the board hitting wise. So Senga feels like an absolute lock for lineups here. Not only is it just Oakland, it's just he is the, for lack of a better word, cream of the crop when it comes to pitching on this slate here. Rasmussen's been fantastic, but you're going in Toronto here. He's faced Oakland and he's faced Washington. So you should look fantastic against Oakland and Washington. I don't know if he's going to have that same success today, but look what Spencer Turnbull just did against the Blue Jays today.
Right.
Absolutely shut them down. So, is it possible that Toronto's bats get held down if Rasmussen's pitching as well as he is? Sure. Do you want to spend $10,000 to find that out? Not unless I'm playing a 20 max, or maybe a 3 max, but definitely not in a single entry, and definitely not if I'm making one lineup. Rasmussen's not making that lineup against Toronto for me. I like Cortez, $9,500. Wish he wasn't home, but fine. I can live with it.
Right.
Charlie Morton against Kansas City. We know we've been targeting Kansas City a lot. It burned us against Evaldi, but he still had 7 strikeouts in that outing. So maybe Charlie Morton here if the weather holds out. Threw 104 pitches in 5 innings against San Diego. He's had a tough 2 matchups, St. Louis and San Diego. Still had 6 Ks against the Padres, so that's encouraging to see. $9,100 for him. So maybe that there's some Charlie Morton, but the Kansas City bats are slowly waking up. Bobby Witt is starting to hit. He had 3 stolen bases yesterday in yesterday's game as well, or 2 days ago, I guess now at this point. That's your 9K and above tier. Rasmussen's probably the only one I don't play. Senga I love. The other 2 are fine. I don't know if I still have some reservations, probably a little bit more on Morton than Cortez, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about that top group.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rasmussen probably is last, but I wouldn't completely cross him off my player pool considering how good he's been and considering just the lack of depth at the position. I know he's 10K. It's not like we're getting that discount anymore, but if Spencer Turnbull can do it, anyone can do it. He faced a full Blue Jays lineup, excluding Matt Chapman, who was scratched late. I mean, if Chapman's not in the lineup, we get we get another
lead the team in RBIs, right?
So. Yeah, in pretty much every category. So, I wouldn't just poo-poo Rasmussen, especially Tempe has not lost. He is almost the most surefire win on the slate. And I know it is Toronto, different setting, whatever, but they literally haven't lost. So it is hard to predict people winning every game, but right now they've won every game. So
all now, right? So
Senga is definitely the best play.
I'm just gonna put him in the lineup now. We're gonna build a lineup at the end of the show. Those who are new, we build a lineup at the end. But if we find absolute locks, we just click the button. So Senga is the click.
Yeah, he's the click. I do have pretty solid amount of interest in Nestor. I think this Twins offense can be exploited. Again, I know they just went nuclear. I'm definitely not denying that.
And he is a lefty, and their two best bats and that will be in this lineup do hit lefties well.
Right.
Buxton and Correa.
Right. The thing is, like, you and I had a good talk about Johnny Brito on the live stream on Thursday, where like we ran into a problem where we liked Nathan Eovaldi so much on Wednesday that we just couldn't look past the fact that Nathan Eovaldi's not Jacob deGrom,
Sure.
and like Nathan Eovaldi can get hit. Yes, he had a big strikeout total. Yes, he got shelled. Johnny Brito's numbers looked good, surface level. Peripherally, he had like a 5.5 expected ERA, and then he got shelled and didn't make it out of the first inning. So, like, this Nestor is good pitcher, and the expected numbers are good. So, like, I have more confidence in Nestor Cortez than I did Johnny Brito. And I like Charlie Morton. I don't like that he's allowed 9+ base runners in 2 straight games, because that's scary, especially if it is Bobby Witt who's stealing multiple bags a game. But there's strikeout equity with Morton. We've seen KC strike out a whole bunch lately. In that last series, it was just with regularity.
Yeah.
I mean, you just mentioned,
like I said, even Eovaldi getting shelled, he still struck out 7.
So I think there is some serious strikeout equity with.
Yeah, Morton can get you
Charlie
double-digit Ks. Like, he still had a ton of Ks last year, even as he continues to get up there in age. So,
dude, he gets older. He is one of the rare like pitchers that can just continues to get older and continues to just throw hard and be good.
Yeah. We saw Joe Ryan shut down the Yankees tonight. Tyler Mahle, does he have that in him today?
He could. He also could give up 3 home runs, and Yankees are just so hit or miss, man. They're going to strike out a lot. They have 24% K rate against righties this year, and they also have a 206 ISO, which is let's see, 4th highest against right
pretty
pitching.
Pretty elite number. So
like, yeah, they're likely going to strike out, and they're also likely. I mean, Anthony Rizzo hit 2 home runs tonight, and we talk about Anthony Rizzo at Yankee Stadium all the time. Aaron Judge power to like compared to last year. I mean, he has 4 home runs. That's fine, but the guy hit 60 last year. What happens if he goes on a tear? Like that tear could start tomorrow on Friday. So
sure,
tournaments only for me for Molly.
All right, other guys, excuse me, other guys in this 8K range. Patrick Sandoval for me, I think is interesting. I know you mentioned Boston and their offense. They did put up a bunch of runs on the bullpen of the Rays today. But that lineup is just gross. I mean, they rested Devers.
Oh, horrible.
They rested Devers. They didn't have Yoshida in there, but both those guys are lefties. And I know that
Ref Snyder hit 3rd, right?
Yeah, Ref Snyder hit 3rd. He actually homered in the first inning for Springs there. But listen, Sandoval's been really good. No, he's not striking anybody out, but Toronto held on to 1 run over 6 innings there. Oakland 1 run over 5 innings. Yeah, again, it's if you cannot get burned by Devers, who hit a grand slam 2 nights ago, then you're probably moving through Boston's lineup pretty easy at this point. So I wouldn't mind throwing something at Sandoval. Now, Tanner Houck has actually been a pretty decent starter for them, kind of given the rest of their starting rotation. But again, like he's in Boston, it's gonna be like 80 degrees tomorrow in Boston, so the weather's getting pretty warm.
Oof.
It could be a tough day if those breaking balls hang. And then Michael Wacha for me at 8,100 would be the other guy in this price range.
So I like Sandoval a lot, and there's going to be positive regression coming for the strikeouts. This is a guy who averages over a strikeout per inning for his career. Like, we're not just striking 2 batters out per outing. I'm trying to find his swinging strike. Yeah, like his swinging strike rate is a little down last year. 13.3, just 10.6 this year. Still double digits is fine, so that should be a positive regression for Sandoval. I don't hate Michael Wacha. We know that Milwaukee has thump, and he's coming off a really good start against a team that thumps in Atlanta. We know Michael Wacha's incredibly up and down. He was good for Boston last year, though. I will give him credit there. I would also throw Luis Garcia into the mix, especially with Texas. I'm going to keep saying it while Corey Seager's out. if they are going to continue to bat Josh H. Smith second, I'm going to attack Texas. If they don't adjust that lineup somehow where they're like, it's not like they just need to move, I think, everyone up. And if they don't, I'm going to look at Luis Garcia, as well as Sandoval and Waka in the mid-tier.
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, my one thing with Luis Garcia is that he's not as good as Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, you know, the top end of that rotation, right? Sometimes we kind of lump all those Houston guys together as being like a really strong rotation. He's been okay, but he doesn't have the same thump that those other guys can bring when you're talking about the aces of that staff. So he's priced like them though, like he's priced like a Christian Javier or a Framber Valdez. He's just far more inconsistent than those guys, and I don't believe he has the same ceiling at all.
No, of course. I mean, Framber could win a Cy Young, and I don't think anyone.
And Javier could lead any slate in strikeouts. Like I don't think Garcia is that strikeout guy. I don't think he pitches deep enough into games like you see for Valdez. So I don't mind him. You're right. The Texas lineup certainly kind of sucks, but you know, I worry a little bit just at that price point. It feels a little high. It could be contrarian, but I know you said he's also a pretty big favorite on this slate. So
yeah. Let's see. Run total up. He is minus 160 to like 165.
Moving our way down, you mentioned Syndergaard was a pretty heavy favorite. Obviously, he got rocked by Arizona last time out. He faced Arizona in his first start, had a lot of success. He was also at home in that first start. He is home here against the Cubs. We look at the Cubs lineup, not a lot in that scares you outside of like Nico Horner, but you know, they are putting runs on the board lately.
They're sneaky good. I think the Cubs are sneaky good.
Wait till they get Senga back.
I do.
Then they got a good guy there too. Would you play Syndergaard here at home?
Probably not, because
you want Cubs? You playing Cubs?
I don't know if I'm playing Cubs. I mean, that's gonna, we'll see how the slate breaks, but I haven't thought Syndergaard's been good for a pretty long time.
Taylor Wells is $6,300. He threw a shutout 5 innings against Texas in the first start against the Yankees. 6 innings, 4 earned, gave up 2 home runs, but had 6 strikeouts. You mentioned they strike out a lot. Any Tyler? I call him Taylor Wells. Any Tyler Wells here?
Yeah, the first outing wasn't a start. That was he entered the game for Kyle Bradish. Yeah, I mean, he's okay.
I like that he threw 89 pitches at least.
I do too. He's okay.
Well, the White Sox, if no Tim Anderson in that lineup, is Moncada still out for them too? Is he?
He still hasn't played.
I mean, once again, it's like if you can kind of avoid Lewis Robert, you're kind of doing okay there. So in Baltimore, that offense has just been banging. So
yeah,
Tyler Wells at 6,300 might be my value play on this slate.
I mean, I don't see anyone else that I would like really have any interest in. Like Trevor Williams was good in Coors, and I think Cleveland is one of the most non-scary offenses you'd go against if Jose Ramirez isn't hitting the ball all around the park. I guess, yeah. I mean, where else would you go?
I'm trying to pull up Gomber's road stats from last year quickly.
He has looked quite bad.
Yeah, he had a serviceable first start against San Diego. Road starts for Gomber last year. Nope. Worse on the road. 5.98. So no dice. No dice there. So yeah, that's probably it. I think Tyler Wells is the value play.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of these mid-tier guys if they just weren't facing the teams that they were facing. I love Justin Steele. I just wish he wasn't facing the Dodgers. I love Brady Singer. I just wish he wasn't facing the Braves. Those two pitchers, I'm I think very highly of. and I would probably just use one of those two guys as my SP2, but like very hard to really have any interest
Yeah,
in.
the one thing with Hauk here, 70 and 74 pitches in his 2 starts. He went
Pretty
5
brutal.
innings in both of them. Got the win in both of them because the team is combined to score 23 runs for him.
That is crazy. Why have they scored all their runs for they must love Tanner Houck in
Yeah,
the clubhouse,
they
huh?
must. So I don't think I'm playing Tanner Houck. Like I said, I think I'm rather do Tyler Wells. That pitch count just is gross to me. So
Especially with kind of what is gonna happen. 9.5 runs
it
implied in that game is the highest on the board. You said it's gonna be hot in
is.
Boston. Like
But we talk a lot.
that
We
is a
talk a lot
risk.
about what happens when you get past like the first like 3 guys in the Angels lineup too. It's not
True.
great, but it's
True.
it's better against lefties. But he's not a lefty, so all right. Let's go on over to catcher again. We'll get more information on catcher. Obviously, when the lineups come out, we'll see guys who are in or out. But we do have WD Smith here at 58 against the lefty and Steele. Adley hit the walk-off homer today against Clevenger at 52. We have both Kansas City catchers up here. Melendez, obviously, and Salvi, 47, 46. Wilson Contreras. I mean, talk to me about this catcher spot for you.
I mean, it's Adley for me at the top. Clevenger looked pretty bad in his last start. He's looked pretty bad, just in general, off the field and on the field. Terrible, terrible all around. I like Rutschman. 3 home runs in his last 5
Yeah, talk
games,
about it. Talk
including the
about
walk
the
off, like
guy
you
who
said.
has lived up to the hype, right? Like
Yeah,
number 1
yeah,
overall
for real.
pick, and then 2 years later, basically in the big leagues and raking. So
Yeah, and he was great last
yeah,
year too. Like, so for me, it's him at the top. I don't have a problem getting to Wilson Contreras. Oviedo is like sneaky good. Had like a jillion ground balls last start. So like, I think people are going to gravitate to St. Louis. It's a pretty tough spot for him.
Vince Velasquez shut them down today.
Yeah, Vince Velasquez shut them down. I don't think that's like an indication of like what's always going to happen, because that would mean the Cardinals probably never win again if Vince
Well, they
Velasquez
keep putting
is
hype videos out about Vince Velasquez. He's
true.
living up to it. So.
Dude, I've been the number 1 fan of that video. I'm
Yeah,
just
fan,
saying.
hater,
And
whatever,
again,
same word. Yeah.
when have you ever seen me discredit that video that may or may not be of Dave Bautista?
It's true. So you do call it
Have we
the
ever
best
seen?
hype video, but I feel like the best is said with some sarcasm. So
Prove it.
yeah,
I've only ever said the best.
I
There's
can't.
nothing. I've only ever said
True,
the best.
true.
It's the best type
It's
video.
true.
Colby Conway and the rest, all 8 of the other Pittsburgh Pirates fans out there, probably weren't as hype as I was when I saw the video. But I'm just kidding, Pirates fans. We love you, all 8 of you. Sean Murphy, home run threat, strikeout, double digits or multiple strikeout threat at the same time. I do think highly of Brady Singer, though. I probably can't get there. I like
He's
Ohapi
been hitting
here.
power, right? So
Yeah, first time at the Green Monster, maybe. I don't hate that spot. The rest of the position is just gross. Like Elias Diaz hits lefties really well. He's actually been hitting really well just in general, but he's played 7 straight games at
right.
home. And he had like alternating hits on the road in every other game, and then hitting 7 straight games at home. So like hard to trust. Like what's your flavor for the rest of the catcher position? I know Jonah
I was
Heim
saying,
is,
I just clicked on Jonah Heim. It's probably Jonah Heim. Like it's
or a Tampa catcher. Like Barrios kind of stinks. If Betancourt's in the lineup, like 3 of the last 4 games Betancourt has started, 16, 9, and 18 DraftKings points. He's been,
if Jeffers is in the lineup today, I would probably go there too. $2,500. They played Vasquez.
Christian Vasquez. Yeah.
But Jeffers has only hit when he's been in the lineup. Like the guy is hitting 400. He's played in 5 games. He has hits in 4 of them.
I'm pretty sure he plays against lefties, Jeffers, if I'm not
Sure.
mistaken.
If that's the case, I'll probably just punt Jeffers at 2,500. I mean, if Alvarez is in the lineup at $2,300, one hit in 2 games here, maybe he finds a spot at but Caprillian's not great. So if you want to spend,
No, he's not. No,
down,
he's
you
not.
certainly could, but it's probably it. We'll get the lineups out again. James and I go live at 5 p.m. Eastern, so we'll have some starting lineups for everybody at 5 p.m. If you tune into that live stream, I highly suggest you do. We'll be able to give you a better idea of the catcher position. But if like Ryan Jefferson's in, I'll probably punt catcher there. Otherwise, it's Jonah Heim and it's Adley Rutschman. That's kind of where I'm at. First base, again, loaded position because the whole slate, 12 games. Ohtani's at 61 against Houck. Goldie gets Oviedo here. Oviedo. 6K for him. Alonso's been hitting for a lot of power. Matt Olson, but you like Springer, but Olson's been hitting for a lot of power. Crone gets the lefty. France gets the lefty. Yandy Diaz keeps hitting. I mean, Mountcastle, low. First base is loaded. Nelson Cruz gets a lefty and Eric Lauer, right? Anthony Rizzo gets Male. Jose Abreu gets a lefty and Martin Perez. Like we're in Splitsville, USA right here at the first base position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very strong position. Unfortunately, we get to play Ohtani at 2 different positions, so we don't really have to worry about like bogging down our first base with him if we don't want to. We could play Ohtani in the outfield. Goldie and Guerrero are tournament plays for me. I think my favorite option up here is Pete Alonso. Hit another home run on Wednesday. He now has 6 on the year, 5 in his last 10 games, 5 in his last 7 games. Caprillian's allowed 12 earned runs in 2 starts and 4 home runs in those 2 starts. I have no doubt that even in this big ballpark, that Pete Alonso could make it look smooth.
He hits them far.
So I think Pete Alonso is my favorite 5K and up first baseman. I also like Crone and Ty France in that same game together. I know CJ Crone struggled, but when he's done damage, it's been with the power. 6 extra base hits of his 10, 4 home runs. And Ty France is just once again just raking. 6 doubles and a home run, hitting 357. He just needs Ty France is just the same guy, 290, 20 home runs, 80 ribbies, and it's fine. But 5K, we need a 3-hit game or
it's worth remembering. I just checked the numbers and it's held true 2 starts through this year and then last year. Marco Gonzalez is a reverse splits pitcher. Lefties actually hit him better. Last year, 280 with an 811 OPS for lefties, and then this year they're hitting over 300 in 2 starts against him. So I know you mentioned Crone. I'm just pointing out that Marco still continues to be a reverse splits southpaw. So lefties for Colorado, maybe something to be a little sneaky with here. Not that we love Colorado when they're out of cores. They didn't really hit well in cores. So, but just kind of throwing that out there. Austin Gomber just sucks in general. So Ty France certainly in play. That mid-tier range, like I mentioned, Mountcastle's on the road, so you kind of benefit a little bit from getting him out of Camden. Nathaniel low at 4,600. Nelly gets the lefty. Anthony Rizzo coming off the multi-homer game. Abreu hasn't shown power yet, but he gets the righty-lefty matchup. I mean, all those guys there are in great spots.
Yeah, I think Mountcastle probably stands out the most. He's been pretty incredible lately. Striking out a lot, but he's making up for it with the power. And I know 9 of his RBIs came in one game, but still 10. So that's 10 RBIs in the other 12 games. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good rate. Pretty good stretch here for Mountcastle. So he's definitely my favorite of the bunch. Nelly has been good this year. So I'm okay getting there. I'm okay getting to Rizzo and Yankee Stadium. We say it all the time. More of a tournament play for me. Probably can't get to Abreu, unfortunately. 43. I know Houston just profiles good against lefties in general, but if Abreu's just not, I know he's going to hit home runs. I'm just not going to pay 4,300 at this loaded position on Jose Abreu if he's because last year was a down year in power too. It's not like this is just this year where Manny Machado hadn't hit a home run going into Thursday night, right? Manny Machado also hit 30 home runs last year. Where it's just like difference in like
Yep.
where they are in their career.
100%
So,
agree with you there.
um,
Moving down into the value range here. What are we doing with Luke Raley here these days? I mean, he's still 3,600. Are we still looking at him in the spot against Berrios?
I don't know. This is like one of those scenarios like Stuart Fairchild, John, hit third for the Reds on
Yeah.
Thursday. You know what happened when a righty
Took him
came
out.
into the game? He was pinch hit for. And if Toronto goes to a lefty reliever, you know what's going to happen if it's Luke Raley at the plate?
Take him out.
He's getting pinch hit. He's getting pinch hit for. So he needs to get damage done early for it to pay
Sure.
off. Honestly, like as much as we like Charlie Morton, like Vinny Pasquantino is just too cheap.
Sure.
Like let 3,400. The guy has an incredible hit tool. You mentioned the bats were waking up. Like look at the last 7
Yeah.
games, hits in 6 of them, 3 multi-hit games over that span, just a boatload of extra base hits. He is not a 30. He is closer to a 5K player than half the list above him is.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Rowdy Tellez homer tonight. He gets Waka here. I don't think Waka's striking out 10 again. So
Yep.
maybe Tellez at 3K finds a home into some lineups for you.
Dude, he's always we mentioned
I feel like every
I think
podcast
every
because the
Brewer
home
slate.
run power is there. So
Yep. Every Brewer slate. I mean, if he's gonna hit 40 home runs or like come anywhere close to 40, even 30, like the more we suggest him, the more we'll be right. You know, I mean
and then you have the Cubs. You seemingly weren't in on Syndergaard as much. Hosmer's 28, Mancini's 27.
yeah, I just don't think highly of Noah. I mean, Noah Syndergaard. When was the last time Noah Syndergaard has like been good? Like I know he wasn't terrible last year. He had a sub 4 ERA, but he doesn't miss bats anymore. He had 6.3 strikeouts per 9. He was walking over 2 batters per 9 this year. 6.3 ERA to start. He needs to keep the ball on the ground, and the ground ball rate is down this year. We'll see if that evens out. It's only been 2 starts, but a little concerning. Probably not going to get to Cubs. I just don't love Syndergaard on the flip
Okay.
side of that.
We'll break down the rest of first base again. We'll get lineups. We'll know if there's any value plays or whatever, and we'll be able to kind of give a bit of better clarity on that position. We'll move over to second base here. Long list of guys. We know Mookie Betts has that multi-position eligibility, so we can play him at second or outfield if you want. He gets steal. Simeon, Gleiber, Donovan. I know you've been a big fan of Donovan lately at $4,800. Feels a little expensive for me. Still, I'd rather play Jimenez at 45. I think that's a better spot. Brandon Lowe,
Yep.
the power has been there. He was a ridiculous chalk play the other day. Man is homered in 5 of the last 6. I feel like at 4,300, you're going to see him plugged into a ton of lineups here.
Yes, and he gets a
Ballpark upgrade going to
like,
Toronto.
And Jose Barrios, his ERA is
not good.
Currently, 11.17 is his ERA. That is dreadful. I know he has like a high strikeout rate. But look, man, the guy's just been bad again.
8 runs allowed to Kansas City, 4 earned, 6 runs allowed to LA. So I mean, again, not like not murder row there, So he's just getting hit by everybody.
Bad. Yeah, and Brandon Lowe has been amazing. Brandon Lau, has been amazing.
Is he good enough just to click?
Yeah. Let's go through the rest of the position, but he's very close. He is very close.
Right below him is our guy Nico Horner. 25 and 16 fantasy points, 2 of the last 3 games for him.
Don't let this man get. Don't let this man get.
He will run. He will 100% steal that bag on you there. So he is again just $100 cheaper at 42. Nolan Gorman's $4,100. Then we get kind of down into that under 4K range where there's really not a lot for me personally. I don't know if there's a name that I'm missing that you're more in favor of, but if there is, let me know who it is.
Jaquan Bay, who has multi-position eligibility, gets John Woodford definitely don't think much of John Woodford. I know the last time out he was serviceable, and like if you stacked it against him, he only allowed 3 earned runs. But the start he made in Atlanta or at home against Atlanta to start the year, 4 1/3, 6 earned, 3 home runs. He does not have a lot of strikeout stuff. He is not someone who's going to miss a lot of bats. Pittsburgh has some nice pieces in this lineup. If Bay gets on, he can steal. He has a little power, as we saw. He hit the walk-off home run the other day. So I kind of like Bay at 3,800. I think he's perfectly fine in a pretty good spot. Other than that, like Ha-Seong Kim,
was the only one,
2,700.
yeah. I thought he was a shortstop, but I guess he's second base, so that's fine.
Yeah, second base. Well, they
Xander
have
now. Yeah.
Xander. Mauricio Dubuon has been really, really good for the Astros lately. Just like boatloads of hits.
Hitting everybody all but one game. So,
and it's like they're coming in bunches. Like they're just extra base hits. He's not a powerful guy. He is not like a speedy guy. He can steal a base, but it's been just death by a million paper cuts by Mauricio Dubuon, and he's mixing a couple doubles here and there too. So I don't hate either of those guys in this lower range, but that's probably it for me.
Okay.
I would say Brandon Lau is
clickable. I'm just checking out 371 batting average and balls in play for Mauricio Dubon.
Yeah, so Sells and I on the Fantasy Alarm Baseball podcast, you guys will see coming soon, talked about Mauricio Dubon today, and I saw that. But I also brought up a point that I want to get your take on. It'll be quick. That has been kind of a thing around baseball where just BABIP's higher, and I think that's a direct correlation to the shift. I mean, they're less shifting, like higher average, just naturally, right? Like there's been more offense with.
Do you think teams are shifting on Mauricio Dubon?
I mean, I think that every hitter had some type of shift on them, essentially, for the last however many years.
Certainly possible. He also has a 2% strikeout rate after having. I mean, last year was decent, 11%, 20% the 2 years prior when he was at the Giants. So I don't know, maybe that's definitely a ride him while he's hot sort of scenario here. But I think the chalk is going to be with Lau.
Brandon Lau, I'm with. I agree.
It's not a price that will kill you. Let's go to third base here, where we do have a lot of top end talent. Break it down for me. You got Riley, Arenado, Ramirez, Devers.
I would say Jose Romero
too. I didn't even see him because he was under the 5K. Machado at 49 here.
That's probably definitely the first time all year that he's been that price point. So definitely something to that we are going to want to take advantage of. I think Jose Ramirez is the top dog here over 5K. I'm perfectly fine using Devers against lefties. I just don't think Sandoval is the lefty to use him against. Sandoval had a lot of all of his struggles essentially against righties last year. He handled lefties pretty easily. So if you want to use Devers in tournaments, that's fine. Jose Ramirez gets on. He's going to steal. He's going to hit for power. He hasn't hit a home run yet. Again, this is like a guy that like Jose Ramirez versus Jose Abreu. I trust Jose Ramirez is going to hit a home run in a lot of them, where like Jose Abreu might hit one here and there. He might end up with 20, but Ramirez is a 30 home run upside guy. So I like Ramirez quite a bit at 57. Arenado's fine. Sneaky tough matchup with Oviedo if he keeps the ball on the ground. Riley's always in play for a home run. But yeah, I think, we start getting into this next tier where it's like, all right, Ramirez here, but then Machado under 5K is great. I really like Bregman 47. He has slowly been better. Home runs in 2 straight games, hits in 4 straight games. So like Machado, Bregman, Ramirez. I want to just say Max Muncy again because like he poo-pooed it on Thursday and then he double dongs and he's done nothing but double dongs. He's
gonna do it against a lefty though.
There was a lefty on the first double dong he did. It was against a lefty.
Okay.
Guy just hit so many home runs. In bunches. Bunches.
Well, he homered on the 10th was against Logan Webb.
The 10th was against Logan Webb. Are we sure?
Yeah, reading it. Muncy
Okay.
went 3 for 3 with a 3-run home run and a grand slam. Homered off Logan Webb. Maybe the Sean Hygel, is he a lefty? He had a grand slam off that guy. Nope, also a righty.
No, I could have sworn it was against lefty. Either then, I guess I digress. You win this. You win this battle.
Yeah, I win this battle, sir. Yes.
Sean, that guy that he hit the second home run of is 6'11", by the way. That's a big dude.
Anyway, I think Suarez is great there at 43 against Comber.
Yep.
Gunnar Henderson will eventually be good. If you're stacking Baltimore, you can throw him in a lineup. That's fine. Josh Jung against Garcia.
Yeah, and I hope they move him up. I hope we could see him hitting fourth if they do something intelligent and don't bat Josh H. Smith second.
Do something intelligent. Why would they ever do?
Well, yeah, I mean, they bat Josh H. Smith second, so like obviously there's something going on.
Well, here's an interesting thing. The Rockies recalled Nolan Jones on Wednesday.
Yep.
Maybe finds himself in the lineup. I guess he's a lefty going up against a lefty in Gonzalez, but it's a reverse split spot. I don't know if they would start him right away, but he hasn't played yet, so maybe Nolan Jones finds himself in the lineup.
Maybe.
Anybody else for you?
No,
not really for me. There's nothing down here.
If any lineups, when lineups come out, and maybe there's something different on the live stream,
Sure, I agree with you. All right, shortstop. I mean, Wanderer came through for my bet this morning. I had plus 135 on the over half a run. That was about all he did. He was 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. He got hit by a pitch and then scored. So, other than that, though, he's been fantastic. Gets Barrios. He's $5,900 though. If you think you can afford to play it, but if you're looking at the top half of the shortstop position, most of them are hurt. So you got Wander, you got Bichette, and then you got Bobby Witt at $5,200. You got Xander versus a lefty, Correa versus a lefty. So some pretty decent matchups here. But Bobby Witt's starting to wake up. Power's due to come. Stolen bases are here. If you're not playing Morton, I think this is a pretty strong play for Bobby Witt as well.
Yeah, I like Bobby Witt, and we mentioned it. There's been a lot of traffic for Charlie Morton this year. So if Bobby Witt is 1 for 3, that could result in 20 fantasy points if he steals 2 bags in a run. And I mean, there's a lot of upside with Bobby Witt. So the price is warranted, and so is our affinity for him here.
Yep. I'm with you there. The under 5K range. Lindor's at 47. The price coming down a little bit on him.
Love it. I love this spot against Brilliant.
Yeah, feels pretty strong. Homered obviously the other night. He's got hits in a handful of games now. 6 of the last 7 games he's gotten on base. Pena is $4,600 against the lefty. I know the batting average hasn't been there, but he's another guy. Hits now in 6 of 7. Could be a decent spot here at $4,600. And then, we joke a lot about Jorge Mateo, but the guy got another stolen base here today. It's $4,300. We don't think much of Clevenger. He has sneaky pop. We know the stolen base is legit. $4,300 for Mateo could be in play as well.
Dude, he is hilarious. 0 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a stolen base. Like, golly, just get this guy on base and watch him run. Right. He just needs to get on base. If he keeps at 359 OBP this year, he'll steal 100 bases.
He might. So I think he's fine. Tell me, Edman, what's the deal with what are we doing with Edman here? Didn't play the other day. It's a righty on the mound, though. Where are his splits at? Is he only playing now against lefties? Is this where we're at with Tommy Edman?
Whatever he's doing, I don't really have much interest at this price.
Okay.
Over 4K, I just don't. He's likely going to hit near the bottom of the lineup. And Oviedo has been very sneaky good at keeping the ball on the ground. His last start, he had 14 ground balls. I know against Boston, he allowed the 3 home runs. But 14 ground balls against the White Sox is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Bobby Dahlbeck with the rare first base shortstop eligibility.
Dude, what are they doing?
The Red Sox are abysmal right now. So
I think they're like 9 games back on. It's like April 13th. They're like,
oh yeah, dude,
9
their
games
season's pretty
back.
much already over. Their season's pretty much already over. I don't know if High and Bloom makes the year, honestly. It's been that bad. There's not really another shortstop down here.
I got one.
I'm listening.
Vaughn Grissom.
Oh right, Arcia's hurt.
Yep, Arcia went to the IL. Vaughn Grissom, $3,100.
Okay.
Expected to be called up and will likely be the shortstop for
maybe the rest of the year.
Probably just gotta
stay hot.
Yeah, I mean he's gotta. Yeah, I mean doesn't have to be that good. Like he just has to be to a point where like Braves fans are like demanding him to play. It's just like okay.
I mean, Orlando Arcia's got a fractured wrist, so I mean, like
that's true. He's gonna play. Yeah,
he's gonna get some run here for Grissom. So I like that. I like 3,100. Would you click him or would you wait to see?
Let's wait to see.
Okay,
because we're gonna have a ton of outfield value.
Yeah, there's a lot of outfield value. I agree. Speaking of outfielders, Ronald Acuna is at $6,500. Aaron Judge is at $64. Jordan. Talk about Ohtani. We have all the Tampa Bay guys. You like Reynolds. I mean, listen, this is where we talked about how bad pitching is on this slate. There's a lot of talent in the outfield. A lot of talent in the outfield. Where do you even start? You can't play them all.
You're starting with where your stack.
I feel like half of these guys are going to homer tomorrow.
Trout in Fenway is really nice. Julio Rodriguez against Gomber, who, as you mentioned, was just as bad on the road, if not worse.
He was worse.
He was in course.
A worse ERA on the road last year than he had at course.
Which is just almost unfathomable.
I'm going to give you the righty-lefty split for him last year. Let's take a peek. It wasn't good. Righties hit 304 with an 882 OPS.
So yeah, I definitely like Julio Rodriguez.
He did shut down lefties. He has 600 OPS there, 274 OBP. So I cannot play a lefty against him, but righties just obliterated him.
Well, good thing their lineup is going to be Rodriguez, France, Suarez,
don't play
Teoscar,
Long and JB Crowder, right?
Yeah. So I think of the top tier, like if we're just picking out a couple, Trout and Julio Rodriguez would be the two guys for me.
Okay.
And then then we have a second 5K tier that's like equally as good.
We have 5,500 and above, and then we have 5,500 down and below. Where Cedric Mullins lives, Mookie Betts lives, Juan Soto, even though it's a lefty on lefty. Taylor Ward's at 5,100. Teoscar gets a lefty matchup at 5K.
Luis Robert. I know we like Tyler Wells, but Luis Robert is the superior player in this.
Yep.
In this matchup, but he has been awesome.
He's the only thing you have to worry about in that White Sox lineup right now.
Yeah.
And he still is somehow doing damage. He homered against Minnesota too.
He's literally dominating.
Yeah. I'm with you there. And then you get under the 5K range, and there's some pretty decent options here. JD Martinez, obviously at 48, sits there. Tyler O'Neill, I know you're talking about the ground ball rate. He's $4,500. If you believe in the reverse splits, Charlie Blackmon's actually not a bad play against Gonzalez. If you're not playing, if you're a believer in that spot for him there. Nimmo against Caprillion at 4K could be a pretty strong spot. There's stolen base and run scoring potential there for Nimmo at 4K. So a lot of potential down in this spot, in this range.
Yeah, I like all the Mets. Every Met that's in the lineup tomorrow. That's my favorite stack. I'm calling it now. I'm stamping it.
Did you see my tweet in my post in the Discord today?
No.
I bought a box, a hobby box of top Series 1. In that, I pulled out a commemorative patch card for Francisco Lindor.
And, hell yeah!
And I pulled a refracted Brett Beatty. So
Brett Beatty homered again at AAA on Thursday.
He did. I know. I'm gonna let's.
Brett Beatty might be on the roster by Friday. They might just have to play this kid.
Yeah.
Like they might just be like, "Hey, we're gonna call you up because like there's just our fans are gonna actually start approaching us with pitchforks."
They should.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
mean, yeah, I 100% agree. So, yeah, I was trying to see if I could figure out a way to show this card here, but it doesn't look like it's doesn't look like it's happening for the family there at home. Well, let's see here.
Do you have the card like sitting next to you?
Nah, I got it cased up already.
Okay,
So
okay.
let's see. Does that work for the people? There it is. Little overlay for
There
the
it
fans at
is.
home. So that's a commemorative patch, Francisco Lindor Mets card, and then a little Brett Baty.
Okay.
So I'm not a Mets fan, but if you're a Mets fan, you probably would have been pretty happy with those grabs. So you know,
Brett
uh,
Baty is literally just like torching
oh yeah,
AAA, and the Mets are just like, we're okay with just
go
not.
follow Justin Vreeland on Twitter if you're not one already. Super sharp dude. You get him in the Discord all the time, anyways. And he's just giving you the knowledge that you got to have. Where am I? Oh, look at this. I'm messing up our templates here. There we go. Fixed it. But he is obviously a big Mets fan. And he's always tweeting Brett Baty highlights, basically being like, why is this man not yet on our roster? This is ridiculous. So shout out to Vreeland and all the great work that he does for us in the Discord.
Agreed.
And all that fun stuff. So, anyways, back to outfield. Now I diverted us. You liked all the Mets. I showed you the cards I pulled. Chas McCormick is $3,900. He is going up against Martin Perez here. Definitely a spot where you can use McCormick. He's been hot, has a little power, has a little speed, can certainly do the job. Bertelson will hit second again at 4K, even though you worry about the ground balls at Oviedo. That certainly makes some sense there. If you're not in on Wells, like Benintendi does hit leadoff for them right now, so maybe there's some Benintendi at $3,800. Josh Lowe's 36. Rayleigh, like Tampa Bay, I think is all in play no matter who.
Yeah.
You're gonna want pretty much exposure to all of those guys there. Jordan Walker's still $3,500. Price kind of a little bit up. Pollock against Gombers at 34.
He'll start. He's gonna start and hit like right in the middle of the lineup. And he hit lefties extremely well last year. But here's another guy that we have to worry about not finishing a game. They pinch hit in the Cubs series. He started over Kelnick, who might just freaking play anyway because Kelnick has been awesome.
I was gonna say that's the unfortunate thing is that Gomber was so good against lefties, but Kelnick's homered in 3 straight games.
And the last one was a 480-foot behemoth bomb, like almost
like they had pretty high hopes for Jared Kelnick when he was a prospect in their system. He took a little bit to kind of acclimate. I don't think they want to stifle his current surge, right?
Well, I mean, like they could just realistically play all 4 outfielders where just one DHs. That would make me feel better about that would actually make me feel pretty good about Pollock if Kelnick started. If they both started.
Okay.
Because then the less potential that he's getting pinch hit for as soon as a righty comes in. Because as soon as a righty came in, I mean, look at the last 2 games that he started. Two at bats.
Yeah.
Yes, has he walked in those? Still 3 at bats. I want 4 at bats. If he's hitting 5th, I want 4 at bats. So, AJ Pollock, if Kelnick's in the lineup, I feel better about.
Dare I recommend Cody Bellinger?
John,
$3,200.
You don't have to sell it to me. I told you I think the Cubs are sneaky good.
$3,200. He's got 5 hits over the last 3 games. A return to LA against the Dodgers. Noah Syndergaard on the mound. He just homered against Seattle recently. This guy just forgot how to make contact. Like went to the Joey Gallo school of hitting. I don't know what happened to Cody Bellinger from when he was like an MVP to this, but he's hot at the moment. He's warming up. $3,200 going back to LA. There's a little narrative play there.
I mean, he's cheap too. Like he's very cheap. I can't say I don't like the play. So I'm good to get into some cubbies here.
All right. Oscar Colas is 26. Eddie Rosario hit the walk-off homer the other day for Atlanta. He's 25. Anybody else before we go and make our lineup here? Ref Snyder's going to start against Sandoval. He's 24. He hits left
third.
well.
He's gonna hit third, probably, right? Is he gonna hit third?
Yeah, I know he's going to lead off. If everybody's healthy, if everybody's going to be I guess I don't know with Yoshida where Ref Snyder slugs in, but he was leading off against lefties. They move Verdugo down, so
okay.
But he could be leading off against Sandoval at $2,400 tomorrow.
Oh
God. I keep talking about Hilliard. He's $2,300 here. Like he
had like a double game the other day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. It's ninth, but wraparound stack.
Could move up the order depending on how they view the where they want to put Grissom. If they want to like stagger Grissom ninth and
Jolt's forward, he's $2,200.
Leotis Taveras returned from the IL. Maybe that's somebody they move potentially up the lineup in the future because he's a switch hitter. Like they can't really mix and match. I don't know. He's pretty good. He had a pretty good season last year. He's okay.
We got a couple minutes left here, James. So let's go ahead and get some of these core guys in here. Senga was our top pitch. Who is our other starter? Did you like Morton?
I mean, whatever we can do to afford Mets is what we should do.
All right, we'll start with Mets then. You want to? So you
Lindor,
want
Lindor, Alonso? Yeah, Lindor, Alonso. I think
Lindor, Alonso, and then what? Nimmo.
Yeah, Nimmo 4K. I mean, that correlates so perfectly, right?
Okay, and then catcher, we did have a spend down. We like Jonah Heim, right? 3,100.
Yep, Jonah Heim's good.
And then we'll say if Jeffers is available, we'll go there. Third base position here. Where did we go? Macho Man at 49,
or Eugenio at 43 was something that we
Suarez
were fond of.
I like Suarez. Let's see, Julio Rodriguez. We can slot in there at 56. We got to get some cheap outfielders to get another pitcher going here. So we had a couple.
Kelnick, or I don't think we're going to be able to afford.
Let's go Cody. Let's go Cody at 32. 5K. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to need to drop off of somebody here then. Let's drop off of Suarez maybe and use a value third baseman. Do we have one? Do we have a value third baseman? Jung at 38 maybe.
He's okay.
That's not really a huge drop off. All right, let's go back to Suarez. Maybe we don't go to Rodriguez. Who is our SP2? We'll figure that out. We want to go Morton?
Yeah, let's go Morton.
We're going to need more money then because we.
All right, then let's go. Let's go Tyler Wells.
Okay, go Wells. That gives us a $4,300 outfielder with Wells. McCormick, 39.
Yeah, it's fine. He's not. Martin Perez was really good last year, and he's been.
Well, we can go McCormick Bregman. How about that? Well, we can go to McCormick, then go up from Suarez to Bregman. Is that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so that's our first look lineup here. Again, we'll rebuild this lineup back on 5:00 Eastern. Join us then for the show.